Hello, my podcast people, and thank you for joining me for yet another episode of one of my favorite podcasts. I'm still got to work on that. I'm working on it. I haven't thought about it since the last time I recorded, and clearly that was a mistake. If you're listening, tuning in, watching on the day that this drops, it is Monday, August 18th, and today we are talking about the reality, that success is simple. Obviously, success is subjective, and my biggest hope is that you always, is always that you define success for yourself, and that's a huge thing that's missed out on, and that's on, right? Define it for yourself while in the context and considering you're enough. But this episode is inspired by a conversation that I had with Jill in the lounge on the way back from Cabo this past weekend, yesterday actually, and also a conversation that I had with my sister. So that's a good segue for life updates. This past weekend was Jill's bachelorette party, and it was fucking amazing. Last episode, I put it into the ether that it would be, and then we went on the trip, and it was amazing. We went to Cabo. For those who don't know or didn't listen to last week, we went to Cabo for Jill's bachelorette party. There was 7 of us in total. We left on Friday, came back Sunday, which is the perfect amount of time. Danny J, she fucking killed it. She was the one that planned everything, and it was just so fucking good. We had a chef come in on Friday. We got in on Friday. We went to the grocery store. Then we had a chef come in at night. Saturday, we went to the spa in the morning. Then we went to the beach club. Then we went to a rooftop dinner at night. And then we went back to the house and played games and talked and hung out and listened to amazing music. Nothing but 90s, basically. Just, it was great. I shouldn't say nothing but 90s. A lot of 90s, all females. We had, Lil' Kim in there, but then also present day, bringing in Cardi B, bringing in knees like Megan. It was great. But I will definitely be thinking about the steak tacos that we had at the beach club, likely for the rest of my life. But it was just a great time celebrating a great person with it all planned out by another great person, and just so good overall. So Jill and I, we flew there together. We flew home together, same flight, sitting next to each other. And so we went into the lounge both times. Like, I'm a big fan, big proponent of lounge access. Again, shout out to Chase Sapphire Reserve. Talked about them maybe last time. I don't remember. But got lounge access on the way home this time because of Priority Pass. We were in Cabo. There is no Delta lounge there. So we were flying Delta. I don't have status with Delta. Jill does. We had lounge access going there from LAX because of Jill. And then on the way back, we had lounge access because of Chase Sapphire Reserve and their Priority Pass. And there's a lounge in Cabo. Of note, if you haven't been in a lounge, it's not always like some super glamorous thing. Like, sometimes it is very nice, especially internationally. Here, not always as much. Sometimes it's just less people, right? And there's still a lot of people, but there's like a place to sit, and the chairs are nicer, and you can get food. And you don't have to pay for the food. You've already paid for the food, right? That's really the best way to say it. You don't have to pay for it in that moment, but like, it costs $450 a year to get into the lounge. So you've already fucking paid for that food. But I think that in speaking about the lounge and lounges, there's a bigger discussion opportunity here about, to talk about prioritizing what you value. And I think there's also a bigger discussion to be had, which I'm going to tie into this episode, about being complicit in systems and who to actually point a finger at and what would actually move the needle with things. And so, we could choose to be overwhelmed by all of that, or we can lean into the opportunity to, have some critical thinking and have a discussion. And the discussion here, talking about lounges and things like that, is kind of centered on paying for convenience, which I'm all for. But there's also a very slippery slope into paying to not have things impact you or affect you, which very quickly becomes being punished for being poor, right? They're all intermingled and intertwined in it, and it is a spectrum, and there is nuance, and it's worth discussing. And I know these are heavy topics, and you're like, fuck, I just came to a podcast to relax. Well, here we are, right? That is the both and of being alive right now. And I also know that you, my people, my audience, you're feeling the same things, which is why I bring them up. And also, we're in this shit together, right? The only way out is through, and the only way fucking through is together. So in a slight pivot into today's topic, success. Let's talk about success being simple, not to be confused with success being easy, because it's not. Or the fact that any of this success is fair, because that's also not. many unfair parts about this. I believe that what I'm saying applies to any type of business, be it a personal brand or a corporation. But we're going to focus on personal brands because obviously that is my zone of genius. But to me, success is based on two things. Number one, do good work for a long time. Number two, do right by people. That's it. Right now, there are market parameters that need to be in place for traditional financial success to ensue. Namely, that there needs to be demand for this exact thing. And when I say this exact thing, I mean not just the exact problem that you solve, but demand for it being solved in the way that you solve it by someone like you solving it. Right? There's another piece that I spoke about earlier, right? Success is simple, but it's not easy. This is why it's not easy, because these market parameters need to be there, nor is it always fair. And this fairness piece is out of your control. When you talk about fairness, there's a timing element to things. There's a luck component to things. And within this, like underneath this luck umbrella, to me, largely is our unearned privilege. Do you look a certain way? Does society value the thing that you do? Does the society value the thing that you like doing, that you are good at? Are you able-bodied? I am not putting myself outside of these categories. Right? I look a certain way. Society values things that I do. I am very able-bodied. There's a lot of privilege with that. Right? As the empire, both earned and unearned. As the empire continues to crumble around us, I think it's worth thinking about the kind of world that we want to build and the kind of businesses that we want to build, instead of trying to just save the best of the bullshit that is crumbling around us. Like, fuck it, let it go. I have a tattoo on my side, maybe you don't know. It's by Buckminster Fuller. And the quote, it is a quote that is by Buckminster Fuller. And the quote says, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." I fucking love that quote. All right. It is wild right now that we still got to work and like post shit as everything is crumbling around us. Like I know I said this in past episodes and I'll say it again. There's a meme that I saw that was like, the dystopian movies got it right, but the part they left out is that we'd have to fucking keep working. And you're like, yeah, like we just kind of see like the before and like the after. But like there's this period that we're in right now where it's like shit is the worst, right? Objectively fucking terrible, more and more terrible each day. And we still got to like show up and like do shit and like sell something. You're like, what the fuck? So I tell myself, perhaps since we're in this and we gotta fucking show up to work, perhaps we can use this time to build instead of preserve. Build something fucking new. And as it relates to what I view to be the building blocks of a successful business, it's the two things that I said before. Do good work for a long time and do right by people. I'm going to come out and say it because one of the discussions that, this is largely the discussion I was having with Jill, as it relates to the online space, doing good, part of doing what I mean when I say doing good work, it means doing shit yourself, particularly to start out with. I am all about AI. I have a whole fucking post about it. Not podcast, a whole fucking podcast about it. Look, I actually got excited because I'm wearing the shirt. Lux got me the shirt. This is the new podcast. ChatGPT Curious. She got me a shirt with it. Right? I got a whole fucking podcast about ChatGPT and about AI. I think it's great. I'm all about it. But you cannot outsource your shit from the jump. Like, you got to do it yourself and find your voice and figure out your style and what your beliefs are and what you're good at and have a fucking opinion about things. Because at the end of the day, it's like you can put something into AI, you can put something into ChatGPT, but what is it basing it off of? Right? You're like, write something good for me. What is good? You can't outsource taste. And I do not think AI will ever be able to replace taste. But that's for another podcast episode on my other podcast. Do I think that AI can help you? For sure. And I'm so excited about it and the possibility of a more, ethical solution to growing a business and the, we'll call it the democratization of the opportunity to succeed, because you don't need as much money. You don't need as much capital and people and things like that. Like, you can do a lot of stuff yourself, right? But you gotta do stuff. I just see people want to outsource things immediately. They don't want to fucking, I'm saying they don't want to fucking work. I feel like a boomer here, but I'm just do shit yourself, right? Which ties into the second part here. Do right by people. And this is twofold here. number one, do right by your customers. Duh, of course, right? Fair pricing, quality product, great service, non-predatory means around things. Of course, of course. But tying into the last part that I was ranting about not outsourcing, if and when you are going to outsource, pay your fucking people. Or I should say, fucking pay your people. If you can't afford to pay them well, you can't afford to outsource. You can't afford to do the thing that you want. Stop fucking outsourcing your shit to the Philippines for 1 penny and trying to convince yourself that it's okay because their cost of living is less. Like, no. Don't tell me that you're against what you're seeing going on in this country and then in the next breath, tell me you have VAs in the Philippines. Like, no. No. Are we being complicit in the systems that we say we're trying to dismantle? Let me calm down. Yeah. This podcast is for folks in the online space, the online business world. I have many thoughts around corporate America, but my main thought is that it is a perfect representation of what we should not do. And this is where the conversation with my sister ties in. Right? Because those motherfuckers don't do right by anyone except for their fucking shareholders. They want year after year, year over year profits. They want endless profit, infinite profit with finite resources. All they care about is more profit, getting more profit for their shareholders, not the quality of the service for their customers, not the quality of life for their employees and people that are generating the income for them. I think that corporate America is a perfect example of what not to do, how not to run a company. Because they don't do right by their people. They're missing the second fucking thing. Half of them missing the first one as well. Or you just do good work, doing fucking mediocre work, doing great marketing, mediocre work, and then not doing right by people. As it relates to the online space and me dispensing advice, particularly for folks who are perhaps trying to enter it now, right? The folks who are maybe thinking about the society is crumbling and things are crumbling. I want to do something else. I'm trying to make extra money. I want to create more time for myself. I want to leave shitty corporate America. Right? This is largely who this episode is for and why I'm sharing this message in the first place, right? What's inspiring this message. Right? At the heart of success are the two things I said earlier. Do good work for a long time and do right by people. Right? At the heart of making success not easy or making it more difficult to succeed are those other factors, the market, luck, privilege that's both unearned and earned. Right? Which, if we take a step back then and we look for action items, because that's what I'm all about, right? I'm all about solutions. To me, it is do good work for a long time, do right by people, and then examine and lean into your own privilege in a way that allows you to do good work for a long time and to do right by people. Right? Stop fucking outsourcing your shit to the Philippines. I'm going to leave you folks with an assignment. Maybe it's a helpful distraction item that's also related to business that actually is doing something, not just distraction, which is to read The Go-Giver if you haven't already. I assign that book as reading, loosely assign it. It's the self-suggestion for homework for my Instagram intensive. And I believe that the lessons in it are at the heart of success in the online business space and business in general. But my intensive is about online business. So, and in the book, they list out and it's made up. It's a parable, right? It's made up. And so, like I said in the beginning of this episode, you can define success as you want. In the book, they talk about financial success because money does matter. We live in a society that money is a resource, and money can contribute to happiness because it brings options, right? But you can use anything in terms of success when you're thinking about and you're applying the lessons from the story, right? But in the book, they list out the 5 laws of stratospheric success, which I'm going to list for you, and then I'll wrap it up here. But the 5 laws of stratospheric success. Number 1, the law of value. Your worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Number 2, the law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. Number 3, the law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. Number 4, the law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. Number 5, the law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. Right? I do firmly believe that these tenets, these laws are at the heart of success. I boil it down into 2 things, right? Do good work, do right by people. You are people, yourself is people as well. And the title of this episode is Success is Simple. It's not that success is easy. It's not that success is guaranteed. Things can be simple, right? And still difficult. Seeing things can be simple and still elude you. Things can be simple and have other, factors that make them difficult to achieve. So the reason that I put this episode out was largely because in the midst of all of this stuff falling and crumbling and breaking, it's like, all right, what can we do? And if we're going to think about building, not just trying to preserve, it's like, what do we want to build? And how do we want to build it? And I think that, my message to those of you that are like, yeah, I want to build and I want to do something, I want to create something, is that to consider what you're building, how you're building it, and the simplicity behind it in terms of what can contribute to success and what you can control, I should say, that contributes to success. So that is all that I got for you. I know this is a feistier episode, but it's my podcast. And I very much, very much appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you reaching out. Some of you hit me up and you're like, I feel like you're talking to me. And I'm like, you know how I know that I'm not? And in this case, I am talking to you. There's one person right now who messaged me about this. I am talking to you. Or I'm relating that story, I should say. It does involve you. The way that you know I'm talking to you is because I never remember what even was said, right? I have an episode and like by next day, I'm like, I forgot it. It's this general things that I have that I'm like, I gotta get it off my chest. I love having a podcast for that reason. It helps me process things, but I'm never specifically like, oh, this is just for this one person. But if you want to take it that way in a good way, then yes. If you take it that way in a bad way, then no, it wasn't for you, just specifically for you. Largely just getting ideas out there. And as always, I want you to just take what serves you and leave the rest. All right. I'm going to wrap it up there. As always, truly, I really am endlessly appreciative for every single one of you. Until next time, friends, Maestro